When I release software to beta testers, I don't actually want them to report any bugs. I want them to tell me that everything works perfectly and it's all brilliant. Unfortunately, there's no way, there's at least none that I have ever heard of proving that any bit of code is free from bugs. There's no way you can prove 0 bugs. So software bugs, especially given the complexity of the software that we're writing, is just a fact of life. And I've been dealing with a lot of them lately. And also a few weeks ago, I heard from somebody else that whenever he releases new code to the public, he gets all anxious. And it's just that worry about what if there's a big nasty bug in there and somebody's going to yell at me. So I've got a few suggestions. Now they're all ridiculously simple, but a few suggestions to be able to better handle bug reports and dealing with it. So the first one is expect to receive bug reports. This is especially if you've been working really, really hard to polish up some software and you're feeling exhausted. Just expect that somebody's going to test something that you didn't notice and you will get a bug report. Now, this person who's feeling all anxious is obviously already doing that. I actually gave him a few suggestions to help. And the first one is don't release anything on Friday evening or Fridays. And the reason for that is if an inevitable bug report comes, there goes your weekend. As a general rule, I will tend not to release anything late in the evening. I'll release it the next morning, and I won't release it on Friday. I'll release it on Monday. And I actually learned that from my PhD supervisor, he once complained, you guys finish your things and hand it in to me, and then you go off and have a nice weekend, and I have reading to do. So we quickly stopped doing that to our supervisor. Okay, the second one is to train yourself to be grateful for the bug report, because as much as you don't want to have bugs in your software, reality is that they're likely to be there. They're likely to be there, especially if you're working on something as complicated as for example, in Warp 3D Nova, the most complicated part is the shader compiler. And I've never written one before. This is the first compiler I've ever written. And it happens to be for a very hard architecture to write a compiler for. So, guaranteed to have bugs. And I've actually been waiting for people to do deep testing of Warp 3D Nova and the shader compiler. And it's finally happening thanks to Shader Joy, which you can see running in the back here. Shader Joy is basically a shader toy clone, and the kind of shaders that people have written for Shader Toy test all sorts of corners of the compiler that even though I have a whole battery of tests that still had bugs that got through. So it's finally happening, and I'm grateful to finally, not only that it's being tested, but that I'm being told about it, because that also happens where people, they might be too busy or they might just not be bothered. I've had people who just can't be bothered. They won't tell me that there's a bug, and then later they'll bitch about it online and I'll find out indirectly. So train yourself to be grateful for the opportunity to improve your software, because you do want to improve your software, right? Of course you do. Otherwise, you would not be a very good developer. The third thing is understand that people might be angry, right? And I'm sure you've experienced that too. You're using software and it's not working properly, and you might lose hours of work or hours of your time trying to get it to work. And of course that's going to frustrate people, and they might feel annoyed or angry, and that can come out in the bug report. You can get some insulting things. So just try to understand it's not about you, right? They may have had a bad day because of the bug that they're reporting. And I appreciate that at least they reported it instead of not telling you and going and bitching about it to everybody else except you, which means that you don't get to know about it and you don't get to fix it. And then the final thing, I've shown it before in a previous video, my automated testing, but if you really are getting to that point where releasing anything is making you feel all anxious, it really might be time to look at your way of testing and to get some automated tests, because especially with Warp 3D Nova and that shader compiler, it is so complicated. If I didn't have the automated tests, then things that I fixed would be breaking again all over the place. And I think everybody, including myself, would give up on it. But I don't. I have every time, like with the bug that caused this particular shader to not work, I figured out what was causing it, wrote a test case, fixed it. This is called test-driven design, by the way. Tested it, fixed it. And now, if anything happens that breaks the thing I fixed for this, when I run the automated tests, I know. And I can go back. And at that point, I know, oh, something I did today must have broken it. So I know what I should be looking at, where I should be focusing on. And that can help me correct it quicker. It just means less bugs get out into, first to any testers and next to end users. So there you have it. It's like 4, expect the bug reports, be grateful for bug reports. They are an opportunity. Somebody's telling you telling you about a problem and giving you an opportunity to improve your software. 3, be understanding that people might be upset if the bug has caused them grief. And 4, yeah, if you're still feeling anxious after doing all of the 3 above, automated testing. It really can make a difference. That's it for today. If you find this helpful, I'm trying to do a video like this every week, so I recommend you subscribe. Otherwise, see you next time.